Okay, yeah. Hi guys, welcome to the today's live session. So yeah, let's wait for all everyone to join, and then we will start very quickly. Hope you guys are doing well, and yeah. So there is so much coming in today, so just be prepared for that. A lot of information is coming in. So regarding mechanical, what are the top mechanical courses you can consider, and what are the main requirements for those courses, and what is the application process, right? So just let's wait for a minute or so, and then we will start very quickly. Yeah, just a second. Seems like chat option is not working again today, so I don't know why. I think I should check this after session today, and in future sessions, I'm sure that I will make sure that it's going to work for you. Yeah, good. So yeah, let's wait for one more minute, and then we will definitely begin right away. Yeah. So good to see you guys. In case you see the chat option, you can comment there, and because I can't see in my browser somehow, so it is something wrong with the like YouTube settings. I'll definitely make sure that it gets fixed before the next session. Yeah. Okay, let's begin then. So today I'm going to speak about top five mechanical engineering courses that you can consider to apply to Germany, right? So definitely it's not about these, not only about these five courses. There could be many more, and yeah, so these are the if you meet the eligibility requirement for all these five courses, you will definitely meet the requirements of other courses as well. And I want to mention one thing here. I have prepared this list based on the list from CHE rankings, right? And then the other sources, QS word ranking, QS word ranking for the universities. So both the sources are reliable. QS word ranking is the international list of all the universities across the world. So these courses are listed there in that list. For this list is for basically 2020. They haven't updated the list for 2021, which may be done soon this year. So I just picked up the latest information and came up with this, and the same thing goes for CHE rankings. So let's jump into the session right away now. Okay, so before I talk about what is mechanical engineering, most of you already know, but so yeah, so I'm going on the application of mechanical engineering, right? So for example, micro electro mechanical systems, right? So this is something a combination of mechanical and electronics, right? So the example of this kind of stream, this kind of specialization is integrated circuits, because those circuits have to be designed before they start working as per the electronics concept or applications, right? So this could be one specialization. So if you are coming from electronics background, right, so I will not say that you can study mechanical engineering directly, but yes, if you find any combination of course which is a combination of electronics engineering and mechanical engineering, then you can go for that, right? Then the next application is mechatronics. The example for that, this is robotics. So if robotics is a combination of mechanical, IT software and electronics, because you see the robot work functions, there is a mechanical movement there is a software involved, there has to be some kind of commands to be given through the computer or some software or operating system, some programs are there, and then electronic circuits are there. So it is a combination of all these three things. Next is material science. This is another application, like we talked in the biomedical session last week. So it is in this they test the test particular material in the extreme environment, right? They want to have some material and they want to place it in the extreme environment. For example, stunts in the heart or there are undersea cables for the internet. So those are all application of material science, because they want to test those materials. They want to make sure they are not going to be let's say they are not going to stop working after 1 year or 6 months, right? So next application is nanotechnology. It is more about the examples for nanotechnologies are nanostructures and nanofilters. So those structures have to be designed, which they have to place in various applications in various small devices, and they have to design them in a way that they are still stable, they function in those situations, and they still can handle electric currents or maybe some kind of other things. Next is finite element analysis. It is not something new. It is a very old technique. So it is to analyze the structures for example aerodynamics, or when for example designing the machines of automotive, or designing the clinical devices. So these they analyze through this technique. They analyze the structures and make sure that they are working fine. They test them in different environment, right? So that's the application of finite element analysis. Next is biomedical, as we talked last time, implants and stunts, right? So that's another thing. Then computational fluid mechanics. In the flight test, for example, they have to take the flight to different situations, different extreme atmospheres, and they have to think about the aerodynamics of the flight. So for that reason, they need because there is also a lot of liquids involved in a high pressure environment, right? So that's why computational fluid dynamics is the way they simulate everything and then test them, right? Next is acoustical engineering. So when there is a, let's say there is an auditorium, and then they want to study the sound and vibration and the let's say structure of the room. I would not call it a structure, I don't remember the exact word for that right now, but yes, it is something like how what kind of windows are there, windows are open, closed, or maybe soundproofing is there. So all those things are being tested through acoustical engineering, and those things have to be designed through this method only. Yeah. So now let me let me move very quickly on to the next slide. So I want to mention very briefly about what is mechanical engineering before I move on to the courses. Okay, so I have just found a definition from Wikipedia, which says mechanical engineering combines the engineering of physics and mathematics principles with material science to design, analyze, manufacture, and maintain the mechanical systems. Like all these applications we saw here, it has a combination of both physics and mechanical, and with the material science. So they use all those things, apply on material sciences. So that's why it is a overall very generic definition, right? So as I said, I have prepared this list what I'm going to share now from the QS World Rankings as well as CHE World Rankings. QS World Ranking is the international ranking of all the universities, all the courses, whether they are in US, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, any country you name it. All the courses are listed there, and they are ranked every year. And CHE ranking is more specific to Germany. So I have used both the list to come up with this list for you. Okay, so the first in the list is RWTH Aachen, right? So in this university you will find lot of courses when it comes to mechanical engineering, both in winter and summer semesters. You can see on the screen, and the good thing is that all of them are NC free. That means there is no limitation on the number of seats available. If you meet the requirements, you are a good candidate, you have good grades, you have good exposure in terms of projects, practicals, internship, then you have a high chance to get considered there. But yeah, but then it's one of the top universities in the world. So for mechanical engineering, so you must your application must be really strong. You can see the list of courses available here, like general mechanical engineering, MSc, computer aided conception and production in mechanical engineering, and then management and engineering in mechanical, and the core mechanical engineering is there, technical communication, and then business administration. So let me talk about the requirements of this university. So they say that you must be having at least 145 credit points in your bachelor study, excluding your internships and practical courses, to which they will consider credit points of 30 to 40 depending on the how long was the internship in your case in your bachelor's, right? And they also want you to be from the mint background, because we are talking about these seven courses here, right? So there are a combination of different engineering backgrounds here: computer, and then there is general mechanical, there is a combination of business administration, and there is a technical communication, which is a combination of electronics, as I said earlier. So you have to be from the mint background. So if you are coming from electronics background, if you are coming from IT background, and then you can consider to apply to these courses, right? So they have some specific subjects. So for that you have to meet credit for 145 credit points. But yeah, again, maybe let me correct myself. There is one thing, that you must have a mechanical background. Then you can once you are from the mechanical background, then you can go into telecommunication, which is a combination of both mechanical and electronics. You can go into the business and mechanical. You can go into computer and mechatronics. So you can apply for these courses accordingly, right? So then it's a German taught program. The minimum language requirement is B2. So you must be having DSH B2, then you will be eligible to apply for this program. Or let's say you have B1 and then you are in the application process, then you might get a conditional admission if one of you says, okay, I have not finished the B2 yet. So it is fine. You can take the B1 and you can apply to the university. They will give you the conditional admission. And when you go for enrollment after admission at the university, then you have to submit the B2 level certificate. So it is okay if you have not finished B2. You just take your time, prepare for the exam, and make sure before enrollment you have that certificate. And even in some universities, I cannot tell I don't know remember the name of those universities at the moment, but they also allow you even 3 months after starting the semester to meet such kind of requirements, like could be B2, or maybe you are missing some credit points. So then you can also submit those things later on. Another point they have very clearly mentioned there, if you as they have mentioned that they need 145 credit points for the people who are from mechanical background. They must have studied material science or some other heat related subjects in the mechanical. Then they want to make sure that, let's say if you have 30 credit points less than than their requirement of 145, then you will be straight away rejected. So make sure calculate your credit points before applying for the course, and you will know, okay, whether you are eligible or not. It will save you a lot of energy, time, money, that whether you are eligible or not. I think they also have a self-test on their website. I will show you very quickly. Let me just finish up what's written on the slides. If you have if you are meeting let's say if credit points are for example, if your credit points are somewhere between 120 till 145, so there is a less gap, gap is less than 30 credit points, then you might have to meet the additional requirement. For example, you have to take the written test, or you might have to go through the interview. So all these requirements are mentioned on their website, which we will see very quickly. And as I said, there is a self-test also on their website, which you can also see, and then you can see whether you meet their requirement or not, and you can prepare for it accordingly. So yeah, so let me go on to the website of the university. So this is the website where they have given this requirement that you can take the self test, and these are the major requirements they have written down for two main courses. For example, mechanical engineering, core mechanical engineering. So as I wrote down earlier, so they have mentioned all the subjects here. You must have CAD, drawing, machine elements, mechanics, control engineering, fluid mechanics, thermodynamics. So if you are from these backgrounds, and you will be getting these credit points, right? So yeah, so if you have a gap less than 30 credit greater than 30 credit points, you have these number of credit points less than the minimum requirement, then you will be straight away rejected. And if you have the gap is less than 30 credit points, for example 25 credit points are shortening, or 20 credit points are shortening, then definitely you have to meet the additional requirement. And the fourth requirement they have listed down on their website. They also want 20 weeks of internship, so you must have that. Okay, and in the same way they have given the requirements for business administration course, so you can also check that later on. I will not be talking about this course now. Okay, and then let us talk about there was another link here. Yeah, so they have given some application tips here on their website. And if you see, this is the RWTH website. If you look at this, they have given some additional tips here. That use the self-test to review your chances. You can create an account there, you can log in, and then you can put in all your data about your background, about your experiences, about your credit points. Then you will immediately know whether it is possible for you to get the admission or not. In that way you will know well in advance whether there is a chance or not, right? And they have also given the whether you need the whether you are required to meet the additional requirements or not. So there is a admission committee who will be checking your application, and then they will see, okay, for example, you don't have enough credit points, then they will test your knowledge through test or interview. Then they will consider you based on the result of that test. Okay, and if they see that out of this test, if they see that okay, your knowledge, the knowledge you carry is meets this gap of 30 credit points, then definitely they will consider you for the application. Okay, and for example, there are some other subjects they might not consider, so be careful about those things. Okay, and there are some other requirements. Basically, this page is more about general requirements for all the courses. Like if you can see, if you are applying for statistics or numerics related courses or math related courses, then they have mentioned these requirements here, right? And then yeah, these are just general requirement. And then yeah, there is nothing much on this page more. So let's proceed to the next course now. Okay, so next one is Technical University of Munich. Okay, this is also one of the premier institute I always mention in my almost all the live sessions. And I like this idea that they have the whole flow diagram of the admission process in the TUM. So let me explain to you this flow diagram very quickly. So first you have to submit the application. They have given the deadlines. For summer semester, deadline is 31st December. For winter semester, deadline is 31st of May. Okay, and then formal verification by administrative unit, students admission. They will check your documents and make sure that everything is correct. If your application is not complete, it will not be forwarded to the relevant department where you have applied for the admission. Because for example, you have applied for mechanical course, then the application has to be forwarded to the faculty of mechanical engineering, right? So your application will not be forwarded to that department if your application is not complete. So make sure you have provided all the information, you have inputted all the data, then only it is possible for you to get considered for this course. Okay, once this your application is forwarded, so then there will be step 1 will be the aptitude test. Okay, so for all the applicants, they will conduct the aptitude test. They want to test your knowledge, so you must have at least 60 points in that test. And then and for your grade points in your bachelor's degree, you must be having at least 20 maximum 20 points you will get, maximum 20 points you will get for your grades and technical knowledge. Let me correct myself. For aptitude test, maximum points you can get 60. Suppose you got 50 points in your aptitude test, you got 15 points in your grade, and you got 15 points in your cover letter. right? And then all of them will sum up more than 70 points, right, like you see on the screen here. So if you have if your points are coming out more than 70 points, then you will get the admission directly. Okay, so there will be no question asked, or if they think that okay something has to be checked, they might give you the conditional admission and make sure that you meet those additional requirements. Okay, and if your sum of these three things, aptitude test and your grade points and the cover letter, is not coming out to 70 but greater than 50, then there are two possibilities. If your total points are less than 50, you will be straight away rejected. If your points are between 50 and 70, then you have to go for the written test, which will be of 80 points, right? And then you have to take that test, and then points you got out of this written test plus points you have from the earlier aptitude assessment, then the total has to be 110 points. For example, you got 55 points in the aptitude test here, aptitude assessment, and then you got, let's say, 35 points here. So 55 plus 35 will be 90 points. So it is not making 110 points. Okay, if that's the case, you will be rejected. If let's say you got 55 points in the aptitude assessment and you got let's say 55 points in this written test, 55 plus 55 will be 110, and then you will be given the admission accordingly. So they have also given the timelines here. So first aptitude assessment phase will take 4 to 6 weeks, and then by the beginning of March there will be the written test phase if you are into that phase for depending on to which semester you are applying, whether you are applying to the summer semester or whether you are applying to the winter semester, right? So minimum requirement they have, you must be having a bachelor degree from the technical engineering background, which is mechanical. The program is a German taught program, so it is required that you speak the B1 level of German. And as I already mentioned, this is a point based admission process. At least 70 points to make sure that you get the admission. If you have less than 70, then you will have to go to the written test. Okay, and then let's take a look quickly at the links. Yeah, so they have they have given the what should be your background. You must have knowledge of these subjects: machine elements, material science, thermodynamics, technical mechanics. Okay, and then that's the structure of the course. Yeah, so these are the just what skills you will learn, what will be the content of the course, right? So yeah, and they have also given all the ECTS points. For example, 30 credit points will be given for the thesis, and rest, for example, master modules, main core modules will be 60 ECTS, and then research internship 11 credit points, supplementary courses will be 9 credit points, practical courses will be 8 credit points, and the key competencies will be 2 credit points. So that's the overall structure of the course. There is another link I have here. Let me open it up. Okay, there is also, this is the link where you can see how to apply. Sorry guys. So the application process is very clear. They have given it here. First you have to prepare your application, and there are some special notes for the international students. Check your qualification, so make sure that it is H+ and listed in the NMIN database. You must have a language proof which is B2, and you also need the VPD from the UniAssist, and make sure you know all the requirements. For example, for some countries there are special requirements. If they have some specific requirement for India or other countries, you have to follow that. I was checking earlier, so they don't have specific requirement for India, so you should be good. Then once you have the VPD, you must apply on TUM website online. Okay, after getting the VPD, UniAssist will give you the VPD in a 4 weeks time, 4 to 5 weeks they say it. Okay, so yeah, then they have given this application process, what documents to attach, your certificate, diplomas, transcript, and then your CV. Okay, and then your passport, language skills, as I said, German, letter of motivation, and essay. It is these documents are very important. Okay, and this is the VPD they have listed down. So once you submit this document, then yeah, then there is a online submission of the application. You have to fill out the form and attach all the certificates. Then they will review your application, and there will be aptitude test. Okay, after aptitude assessment they will notify you whether you are accepted or not, and then you have to accept that, accept the offer, so that you are confirming okay you are coming, and then in the last you have to pay for the semester fee, and enrollment will be done accordingly. After enrollment you can pick up your student card. Okay, so yeah, basically that's the overall process for TUM. Okay, not so bad. Okay, next one is University of Stuttgart. Okay, yeah, so basically they also have a point system. So if you have points less than 80 points, then you will be straight away rejected. So make sure calculate your points, follow the point system on their website. Okay, and there are maximum of 120 points you can get. So you can check the point system on their website, and if you have points more than 80 points and less than 99 points, then you have to go for an interview. So what I'm saying, let me repeat again: points between 80 to 99, then you have to go through the interview. So if you clear that interview, you will be admitted with some conditions. They might tell you you might have to take additional exam after coming, or there could be some additional requirements. Or if you have points more than 99 points, you will straight away get the admission. Okay, so yeah, so let's check the link. Okay, yeah, this is a snapshot which I had on my screen. Okay, and yeah, there is also a procedure. You can check the procedure here. These are the general requirements which is applicable to all the courses. So you can check very quickly that what are the NC free requirements. Okay, see. So these are just general requirements, but the main requirements, they have the point system, and you can just click here and go to apply. Or for international applicants, they have a separate link. You can go and apply there. Okay, so they have given the language requirement, they have the admission requirements, application form. Yeah, so these are the requirements you have to fulfill. Okay, so so basically that's it for University of Stuttgart. Okay, you can check all these things. Just Google that University of Stuttgart Master in Mechanical Engineering. You will find all those details. Okay, so let's move on to the next course. So now on this screen, I'm going to talk about 3 courses. In the beginning of the slide, beginning of the presentation, I said there I'm going to talk about 5 courses, but actually I'm going to talk about 6 courses, because these are the 3 courses on this slide I'm talking now, because they are almost at the equal level. Right, one is Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, then there is a Technical University of Darmstadt, then there is a Technical University of Berlin. Okay, so if you check their rankings, they are falling almost similar, so there is no big difference. So I thought to pick them up, all of the 3 together, and put it in the slide. Okay, so you must have a bachelor degree from the mechanical background, then the program is again German taught program, so B2 is mandatory, and they are especially the Karlsruhe, in all the three universities, all of them are asking for an internship. 18 to 20 weeks of internship is required. They want to make sure you have a practical exposure of the industry, then only they will consider you, right? And when you go on their website, you will not find any specific requirement about the grades, about your credit points. So make sure you have good number of credit points. You make sure you have at least because it's a German taught program, so make sure at least 67 to 68%. If you have more than 70 or 70% marks, then you have a higher chance. If you have less than 70, then at least 68% I would recommend, and then you might get an conditional admission. So you have to think on those lines, because they haven't given the clear requirements on their website. So you consider to apply if you speak German, you have good internship, you have good exposure, and then you have good grades, right? And at KIT you might also have to take the entrance exam, so just check that. And I think I also had the links of both Darmstadt and Berlin, but somehow I can't see it now. Okay, anyway, and that's a link from KIT. Yeah, so for example, they have written here, if you see, as I said earlier, these are the requirements. They haven't written it down clearly, uh, like uh, like how much should be your grades and how much should be your credit points. So make sure you have at least, normally universities prefer to have 180 or 210 credit points in the normal case. So make sure you have at least 180 credit points for your bachelor's. If you have done 4 years of engineering, then you should be fine, because not mostly, all of the engineering colleges who are offering 4 years of degree meet this requirement. So you should be good. Only at least if you're coming from the mechanical background, right, then you should be good. Yeah, so, and then they have mentioned about their German language requirements. For example, we can see here. So yeah, so you have to submit the language proof. They have given the deadlines for NC Fry. There is a NC course, there is a without NC course, and then there are other courses, other deadlines they have, right? So you have to see all of them explicitly. Yeah. So okay, yeah, the links are there. Maybe that was I think that was a mistake. So let us check the Berlin University. As I said, they haven't given any specific requirement. They have given the course details, like it's a 120 credit point course. It's a 4 semester course, runs both in winter and summers, and it's not NC Fry. It's German taught program. So yeah, so you have to see all those things. Like I said, they haven't mentioned the requirements very clearly. They have written down very generally that you have a professional work or mechanical engineering degree. Okay, and then they are looking to you to have a German language skills. If you see, you must provide the German language knowledge proof. Okay, and then that's it. They haven't mentioned. If you go to the general requirement also, there is also nothing much mentioned there. So that's why I'm saying, at least make sure you have good grades, good percentage of marks, and then you are coming from mechanical engineering background, you are having B2, then they will consider you, and then yeah, you can apply. In the same way, let's look at the TU Darmstadt. Yeah, yeah. So they have given their credit point structure, how the course structure is going to be. For example, they have listed down like 22 credit points will be the mandatory subjects. Elective subjects will be 56 credit points, and then interdisciplinary could be will be having 12 points. You can take electrical, electronics, biomedical, some other subject, and research and thesis will have 30 credit points. Yeah, you can see here. So yeah, so there will be a 12-week internship in the degree, and then okay, so they have given this language requirement and admission deadlines. So you must be having equivalent degree compared to German degree in bachelor. So if your university is H plus and you have A4 certificate from NABIN database, so you should be fine, right? So, and there is this link here where you can see the deadlines and how to apply. Okay, so basically yeah, they have an online application process. You can check that out here. You can just go and apply, and yeah, So that's the procedure they have listed out. And required documents: your school living certificate, list of grades, and then university entrance examination, for example your bachelor degree, copy original language, and translation. Let us suppose your degree is not in English, then you need a translation in German, and your passport, and then your German language proof. Okay, so these things are required. Okay, and anything else? So there are more degree programs they have listed down. For example, mechanical and process engineering, engineering science and engineering, mechanics, mechatronics, paper science and technology, traffic and transport. So you can also consider these courses. It's not just that you just have to go for mechanical engineering. You can also consider these courses, then you will do well. Okay, so yeah, so I would love to answer your questions, but somehow I don't see the chat option. But yeah, next time I will make sure that what is wrong, and then I will fix that. So that is it for today. If you have any questions or you have any queries, you can write email to me. You can also download my best practices resume guide, which will help you to get admission. You can project yourself better in the application, right? And yeah, basically that's it. And you can also join my Telegram group, Master Study Germany. You will get all my answers related to your when you are applying to universities. So yeah, that's it today, and looking forward to talk to you in the Telegram group. And we will also meet again next week, possibly Thursday. I will schedule the session and let you know, guys. Okay, thank you, nice talking to you.